Troy Kearns, real estate investor. Today we are going to get into a little bit of the weed. We're not going to be talking about real estate investing so much. We're going to be talking about the mask mandate. We're going to be talking about coronavirus. We're going to be talking about everything that's going on right now. And the reason we're going to talk about it is because it's going to affect you. We're going to learn exactly where we are after 18 months of a pretty much a full-blown lockdown. 2 months of Las Vegas where things got back to normal, and now we're back to wearing masks everywhere, people getting super overprotective about everything, and there's some new information that just came out that I'm gonna react to. This is the Joe Rogan video. A lot of our information comes from people who control what information we see. Now with our phone and now with everything being tracked, there's nothing you can really get away with. Like, they know everything. They know exactly what you're doing. They know what photos you're looking at. They know what articles you're reading. They know what kind of food you like. As media goes online and as everything goes online, they know more and more and more and more.
And this is the same guy that just passed this fucking law in New York City where you have to have a vaccine passport to go everywhere. You have to have a vaccine to go to a restaurant, to a gym, to any place where people gather. The biggest percentage of people that don't have vaccines or have been vaccinated are people of color. So this guy, people of color and immigrants, this is what he's always supposed to be pro people of color, pro-diversity, pro-immigration. Those are the people that don't have vaccines, and now you're precluding them from going to gyms and restaurants. And what about the people working in the restaurants? What about all these? It's madness. And then you have a bunch of people that are supporting it, like, yay.
Let's talk about that right now. This thing is madness. This thing has divided us as a country so much so that we may never come back. When you go somewhere and you forget to bring your mask, oh my gosh, how much of a pain in the butt that is. I just went to 7-Eleven across the street from me. I forgot to bring my mask. I was gonna go buy one. They're like $3 a freaking mask now, more than my purchase for my beverage. And basically the owner I was like, do you have an extra one? He's like, well, you're gonna have to leave. We get a $1,000 fine from the state of Nevada if we serve you without a mask. Now businesses are being told you better comply, right? And let's follow, because I think Joe Rogan is an authentic guy. I think he brings on real experts, and I think that we need to hear what he's got to say.
Like, yay, finally. Meanwhile, you have science that's coming out. There's legitimate articles. Jamie, I'll send this to you now. There's legitimate, because doctors have been sending me these things. And, you know, this is neither pro nor con vaccine. This is not a judgment statement. But imperfect vaccination can enhance the transmission of highly virulent pathogens. Right. So this is a scientific paper from 2015 that shows that here's what an important quote: vaccines that keep the host alive but still allow transmission can thus allow virulent strains to circulate in a population. So vaccines that don't kill the virus, vaccines that allow people, like, this is one of the things we're finding out about what they're calling breakthrough cases. Right. So people who are vaccinated can still get COVID and they can still transmit COVID. This recently happened at the Comedy Store. A vaccinated comedian gave COVID to like 12 different fucking people at the Comedy Store. Some of them vaccinated, some of them not. That situation where the vaccine just kind of protects you from serious damage, but it protects you from really being like badly hospitalized or death, but doesn't stop you from getting the virus, can possibly lead to more potent viruses.
Now, like I said, I don't care, vaccinated, unvaccinated, mask, no mask. Really, I'm a freedom of choice type of person, but we gotta dive deep and we gotta understand that a lot of these laws, if people realize, and if you go back and you look at a lot of the laws that are on the books from the 60s, from earlier than that, when women weren't allowed to vote, the laws don't always reflect a sign of the times, right? they reflect whatever politician you elect and whatever Congress you elect, what their ideology is. I would agree, and I would think that a lot of people would agree, that before Martin Luther King and the American Civil Rights Act, there was a lot of things that were not fair. And those laws on the books at that point in time weren't good. And these aren't even laws, these are mandates. So a mandate sounds exactly what it is. It's just a forced rule because of something that's going on right now. People are getting tired of being told what to do because they're realizing their freedom is not as free as they thought it was.
People that are saying, oh, it's these unvaccinated people that are responsible for the variants. Well, there's actually scientific papers that point to the very sort of environment that we're creating by having so many people vaccinated with a vaccine that doesn't kill off the virus. It actually can lead to more potent viruses. Try finding that story anywhere.
I like what he said, where they're try finding that story anywhere. And that's what I'm getting at. We're not presented with all the information to make an educated decision. We're presented with the information that allows us to make the decision that they're leading us. And now with the advent of the internet and access to information, we're saying, oh, more is possible, but with only a few people controlling Google. If you want to know who that is, check out our video on how to become a trillionaire.
Because they're worried about the blowback. People who are physicians, people who are even epidemiologists, even people that deal with diseases and viruses, they're concerned. And they don't want to talk about it publicly because people call them anti-vaxxers.
Oh, yeah.
It's really wild out there.
Oh, it's wild because they've somehow managed, and when I say they, meaning the political elite and then I think their established media representatives, have somehow managed to turn this into a political issue, right? Mm-hmm. And that's dangerous. Like, it's dangerous for any politician to play in that game where they're using something as meaningful and quite possibly dangerous for the country as political posturing or virtue signaling, right? And you see it all the time because you see these guys are wearing their masks for the camera, but then they take them off.
AOC just got busted doing that yesterday. You see the video?
Yeah,
she
of course.
Had no mask on, hanging out with everybody, and then they go to take a picture. Yeah. She puts the mask on and then takes it off after the picture's done.
Yeah, or they can have parties, you know, what is it? You know,
how about Obama?
Yeah, Obama's having that 700 guest party or whatever it is.
He's going to tone it down to 600. Yeah, because of the pandemic. He's going to make it a little lighter.
But you can't go to a gym in New York.
Right.
Unless you have a vaccination card.
Right.
Or you can't go out to eat. We're going to shut down small businesses. You can't go to a comedy club. And I think it's rules for thee and not for me scenario. And
rules for thee and not for me. Let's pay attention to that.
Some people,
I think,
even
are applauding it, which is terrifying. I know smart people that are applauding it. It's so strange. And the problem with applauding vaccine passports, this is part of the problem. They are not going to give that power up.
No.
They're not going to. They're going to find a reason to continue to use that. If they can figure out a way to force you into carrying papers, into carrying something that lets you enter businesses or lets you do this or lets businesses open, as soon as you give politicians power, in any kind of power that didn't exist previously, historically, they don't relinquish that power. They find new reasons to use it.
And that's just what I'm scared about. I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Libertarian. I have no political affiliation that I'm part of. But absolute power corrupts, absolutely, and this is a power play.
Lawmaking and political power in the United States. And I think that's why I tend to be bucketed in conservatives, because it means smaller government to me, right? There's multiple reasons why people classify themselves as that. But I look at things and I look at the preservation of individual liberty. You know, how do I preserve more of my freedom? Because I feel like I'm a responsible adult and I feel like I'm going to raise responsible adults and I feel like I spend most of my time around responsible adults. It's such a disconnect in individual philosophy when I find people that are actively looking for ways that they can forfeit their individual liberty and hand it over to somebody where
do what I say, and you have to. You know, you can't work anymore unless you do what I say. That's essentially what a vaccine passport is.
Right.
You can't do what you want to do unless you do what I want you to do. I mean, Don Lemon was talking about that openly on CNN.
Yeah.
Don't have a vaccine? Can't go to the supermarket. Don't have a vaccine? Can't go to work. Like,
it's so strange that people want to say things like that. Like, that's the thing that blows me away. Why do people want to?
Because they're dumb.
They're dumb.
They're dumb. They don't understand history. They don't understand
Right.
human beings. They don't understand human nature. They don't understand the history of every single country that's ever existed other than the United States. Up until 1776, every country that has ever existed was run by dictators.
Right.
All of them. This is the first one where you had elected officials. This is the first experiment in self-government that actually worked, and it created the greatest superpower the world's ever known. It created the greatest cultural machine, the greatest machine of art and creativity and innovation right fucking here. And how did it do that? It did it through freedom. Because when you give people freedom, you let people do whatever they want to do, they actually find ways to succeed and grow and thrive. But as soon as you put the boots to them, as soon as you tell them, you have to do this or you can't do that, you have to listen to me, now you have a mini dictator. You have one step away from a king. You have a one step closer. You're moving one step closer to dictatorship. That's what the is happening. That's what's going to happen with a vaccine passport.
If you're for the vaccine passport, I'm not mad at you. If you're against it, I'm not mad at you. What I'm just simply trying to get you to understand is that what's good for you may not be good for someone else, and what's good for someone else may not be good for you. But what is good for everybody is the freedom to choose. COVID is not going away. This disease is not going to be eradicated, okay? It's going to be here for probably the rest of your life.
You can't enter New York City unless you have your papers. You can't go to here unless you have that. You can't get on a plane unless you do what I say. And people say, whoa, it's all about protecting people from the... No, it's not. It's not, because we've shown this is a fact. Just a couple of months ago, the idea of a breakthrough case was unheard of. Nobody heard of anybody catching COVID that had a vaccine, right? That was the whole idea. You get a vaccine, you don't have to worry about it. Now we know not only do you get it, but you can spread it. And some people have died. Apparently, it's a small number. I don't know what the numbers are, but I know that most people who get vaccinated, when they do have the disease, they have a better time of it than the people who are unvaccinated. But where are the people out there calling for people to get healthy? Where are the people out there calling for people to lose weight? 78% of the people in the ICU for COVID are obese. 78%. Where's that information being shared? Where's someone who's a leader who gets on TV and says, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to decrease our body mass. We've got to decrease our fat. We've got to make sure that people aren't overweight. We've got to make sure that people are healthy. Walk around your block. You don't have to do something complicated. Start drinking more water. Stop eating sugar. Start taking vitamins. You can increase the strength of your immune system. We can fight things off better. We can be a healthier civilization. Better for everybody, right? You don't hear a peep. All you hear is, take this vaccine that doesn't even prevent you from getting the disease.
I want to hear what your opinion is. Make sure you comment below. It's a controversial subject. I want to hear your opinion on this issue. Is an immune system or a vaccine better?
Oh, you can't go to the Broadway show. It's madness.
It's madness.
It really is madness, because if it was a vaccine that is like a... it's more of a treatment than it is a vaccine, really, if you look at it. Because you're saying you need a booster now every 6 months. Look, if you get vaccinated for polio, you get vaccinated for the measles, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You're good. This is not that. This is a totally different kind of thing. And it's a completely new kind of vaccine. The idea that people shouldn't be skeptical or nervous about that is kind of hilarious.
Well, it's kind of hilarious that people won't try on skepticism in general. Like, they need to be more skeptical. They need to push people in authority and power and hold them accountable for their words and their actions. And there's this reluctancy, I think, across the board to question power either on both sides.
We like freedom, and that is what this whole thing is about, and that is what I thought about a lot today. We want you to have your freedom to choose the right channel to subscribe to choose what videos to watch, to choose which videos to like, to choose which videos not to like. The whole point is that you've got a choice. When something's not being offered as a choice, then we don't have freedom, right? That's the whole point of this video, and that's what I want you to take away from it. And I understand that a lot of people are scared right now, and I understand that a lot of people have different opinions right now. But that's the whole point. You're allowed to your opinion, you're allowed to your choice, and you're allowed to do whatever you want as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of others. So don't infringe on your rights. Subscribe to the Troy Kearns channel. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.